Greetings and welcome to my channel, Take Control of Your Health. I'm Dr. Corey Stern, and if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I do recommend that you take a look back at some of the other videos that I have posted on here, because every single thing on my channel is designed with one purpose in mind, and that is to help you to not be a victim of the bad guys who are trying to make us sicker, weaker, and stupider. And I am trying to get as much information out to as many people as I can to help optimize your health. And if you've been a regular viewer, welcome back. Thank you so much for your support. I've gained a few new subscribers this week, which makes me so happy. If you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, please just hit the subscribe button now. And of course, if you like the content, hit the like button. And most importantly, if you know somebody that you think would benefit from this information, please share it with them. So I want to go over a topic that I did touch upon in an earlier video, and that video was called Fat, Is It Good or Bad? And on that video, I talked quite a bit about seed oils and why seed oils are so bad for you. So let me just do a little bit of a recap about that. Seed oils were introduced into our food supply in the mid-1800s. I think it was, let me see, I wrote it down, the late 1800s. And basically, it started off with cotton seed oil. And cotton seed oil is just a waste product of the cotton industry. And they started to add it to things like salad dressings, and it was a cheaper alternative to, let's say, butter or lard. They actually started to oxidize it and make it into Crisco, which was sold as a lard alternative. And Procter & Gamble was the company that was doing that, and pretty much just tried to, through marketing and advertising, get the public to believe that these foods were the latest developments in science and they were much better for you than lard or butter, and and they're less expensive with a longer shelf life. So that's how seed oil first was introduced into our food supply, but it's now in everything. And there's many other different seed oils that have been introduced. So just to name a few that you are probably familiar with: sunflower oil and safflower oil and soybean oil. Those are a few that come to mind. Oh, canola oil. Canola oil is a big one. And so many people think that canola oil is healthy. It's gotten such great marketing. But here's the deal with these oils. They're actually literally deadly. Okay, so you need to get them out of your diet. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why they're so bad for you. And I want to give credit and thank you to Dr. Joseph Mercola, who talked about this extensively on his website. And as he mentioned, a lot of us, the alternative health practitioners, already knew that seed oils were bad, but we didn't realize the extent to which they were so deadly. So let me just give you some more information about this. The main fatty acid in these seed oils is called linoleic acid. So that's an essential fatty acid. There are many different kinds of essential fatty acids, and your body needs some of all of them. Linoleic acid is known as an omega-6 fatty acid. So you do need some omega-6 fatty acids, but you don't need very much. All right, now you may know that omega-3 fatty acids are good for you. Omega 3 fatty acids are anti-inflammatory. And one of the things that is put out there, let's say by supplement companies, is that you need to have a specific balance of omega-3 fatty acids to omega-6 fatty acids. And that's true. However, most people are eating way too much omega-6 fatty acids. Okay, so in the 1800s, or let's say prior to 1850, like for the millennia prior to 1850, we were eating no more than 2 to 3 grams of linoleic acid per day. Okay, so now we're eating more, 20 times or even 30 times more than that in our diets. So we went from eating like 2 to 3 grams per day to 30 to 40 grams per day. And prior to these oils being introduced into our food supply, there was virtually none or very little diseases like cancer and diabetes and heart disease and obesity, and something called age-related macular degeneration, which causes blindness in the elderly. So these oils are found in so many different foods, so many different processed foods, right? So they're used in baked goods, commercial baked goods, and salad dressings, which I already mentioned, and they're sold as cooking oils, and then deep fried foods, especially, well, even in restaurants, not just fast food, but restaurants, things like French fries and, fried chicken. Fried foods are not bad for you. It's all about the oil that gets used. When you use really good quality fat to fry something, it's good for you. Okay, but when you use these seed oils, it turns it toxic. And these oils become very toxic in your body. I'm going to talk to you about how that happens. But I just want to finish the list of where you're finding these seed oils. Also, infant formulas. It's just absolutely horrifying. Infant formulas, almost all of them have soybean oil in them, even the organic infant formulas. So, it's very hard to avoid these oils if you're eating any commercial products. And by the way, if you do need to give your baby formula, if you're unable to breastfeed, there is a recipe for homemade formula that I can give you a link to. There's also some better quality formulas that you can get from Europe. I can put links to those as well, okay? Because we've got to start our babies off on the right foot. And otherwise, we're dooming them to a life of disease. So these seed oils are what are known as polyunsaturated fatty acid oils, PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids. And the problem with these polyunsaturated fatty acids, which basically, let me tell you what that means. It means they're missing hydrogen atoms, right? So a stable oil, like a saturated fatty acid, like these are usually the solid oils that are solid at a cool temperature, like coconut oil and butter and lard, good quality lard. Those are very, very stable oils. They stay good, okay? But the polyunsaturated fatty acid oils are not stable because they're missing too many hydrogens, and they become oxidized very easily. So you're familiar with the term antioxidant. You know that antioxidants are good for you. Antioxidants stabilize free radicals in your body, okay? So free radicals are rogue molecules that cause havoc and damage. I think of them as, let's say, cars on the road that are out of control and are just crashing into everything and creating damage. All right, now oxidation creates free radicals. So polyunsaturated fatty acids like seed oils create free radicals, which cause damage in the body. And one of the main diseases that free radicals cause is cancer. So it's one of, not the only, but one of the major causes of cancer right now in our culture is this high consumption of seed oils. And you know, starting in about the 1950s, there was put forth this I don't want to call it a theory, but hypothesis that saturated fats were the primary cause of heart disease. So cardiologists were pushing these polyunsaturated fatty acids, and so people just truly believed that this was the best way to eat. And that's another way that they started becoming more prevalent in our everyday life. So these seed oils cause these free radicals. They also damage they damage your metabolism. That's how they can lead to obesity. They damage your body's energy production. So I don't want to get too much into cellular biology, but your cells have something called mitochondria in them, which produce energy, and these polyunsaturated fatty acids actually damage your mitochondria and prevent them from, prevent their ability to generate energy. So heart disease, cancer, obesity, they even make it easier for you to get sunburned. And I don't remember if I spoke about sunburn on another video of mine, but there's a physiologic explanation to how sunburn occurs, which I understand very well. And I already knew that not eating the right kind of fats make you more susceptible to sunburn. I don't know if I specifically realized that eating these seed oils make you more susceptible to getting sunburn, which of course can lead to skin cancer. And the solution for skin cancer, or the solution for preventing sunburn, is not to wear sunscreen, which is toxic, full of chemicals, and then prevents your body from being able to convert vitamin D to its active form. The solution is to eat good quality fats, and actually butter has these good quality fats that help you to not get sunburned and to avoid these seed oils. So I want to also mention, I didn't say this when I was reading the list of foods that have seed oils in them. So besides the cooking oils, which you might be using, right, the sunflower, the safflower, the canola, the soybean oil, besides those oils and besides the commercial products, and if you start reading labels of any commercial product that you buy, you will see that there's almost always soybean oil, safflower oil, or sunflower oil. Even in the health food store, you're going to find those products that have these oils in them. The other thing that's a little bit alarming, though, is that animals that are being raised for food are also being fed usually a soy-based diet. So they are being fed the seed oils. And I actually looked up a whole bunch of different feeds for cows and lambs and pigs and chickens. So that means your chickens, your chicken eggs, it means your beef, your dairy, almost all of the animal products that you eat will have these seed oils, will have linoleic acid in them. Basically, they'll have high linoleic acid. Now, I don't want to make you feel like there's nothing that you can eat. What are you going to do? I mean, I just took away all the food that you're eating, right? So I think the solution is, number one, and I am a huge proponent of this in any case, as much as you can, eat organic and eat, if you're eating animal foods, eat animal foods that are being fed what animals are actually supposed to eat, whatever that is, like grass for cows, insects for chickens. So I get most of my food from an Amish farm and I know what they're being fed. I'm getting eggs that are soy free. So the chicken eggs that I eat don't have high levels of linoleic acid in them. All right, so that's really what you have to do. You have to avoid, number one, avoid using these as cooking oils. Number two, stay away from processed products like baked goods, you know, like we're talking about, like cakes and cookies and donuts and those kinds of food, which are not good for you anyway. They're high in sugar, and the fat that's used to make them with is super bad for you. All right, and then avoid commercial salad dressings. Just drizzle a little good quality avocado or olive oil, flaxseed oil. Flaxseed is a seed, but you know, in small amounts it's okay. And flaxseed has a lot of omega-3s in it as well. So the other thing that I want to mention here is that this is kind of crazy, but high levels of linoleic acid actually cause something called leukotoxins to form in your body. And leukotoxins cause something that you might have heard of, which is a cytokine storm. And a cytokine storm is what happens when your immune system goes a little bit crazy and starts producing a lot of inflammatory chemicals to try to, you know, help your body to overcome a pathogen or an infection. So here's what one of the things that I learned from Dr. Mercola is that this is how acute respiratory distress syndrome can occur in your body. Acute respiratory distress syndrome is extreme inflammation in your respiratory system. Now, if you, let's say you catch a respiratory virus, let's say a SARS respiratory virus, and then you have too much linoleic acid foods introduced into your body, it can easily cause the cytokine storm, which can lead to acute respiratory distress syndrome, which has a very high death rate. So one of the things that I realized, and by the way, it increases the risk of you developing acute respiratory distress syndrome by a lot. So one of the things that I've learned is that, let's just say you're admitted to the hospital for a respiratory virus, and you get so sick that you can't eat actual food, and they start feeding you through an IV. It's called TPN. What the food that they're going to feed you is going to be a soy oil based food. So just try to connect all the dots there, right? You get admitted to the hospital for a respiratory virus. They put you on IV nutrition, and they're feeding you linoleic acid based food, which causes a cytokine storm, which leads to acute respiratory distress syndrome. You have 7 times the risk of developing acute respiratory distress syndrome if you go on one of these TPN foods. Okay, so I'll leave you to draw your own conclusions about that, but let's just say that do your very best to avoid these seed oils in your everyday life to maximize the probability that you will stay healthy. And I do have a video on here about the immune system, which if you haven't watched, that has a whole bunch of suggestions about how you can stay healthy and not end up in the hospital to begin with. All right, so that's all I got for you today, folks. Thank you again for tuning in. I appreciate you all so much for listening, and I will be back soon with more really important information for helping you to take control of your health.